Well, hey there. Welcome to the backyard. I'm Greg, and today in the backyard we are talking about crossbows. Sort of. Check it out. So the crossbow has been around for a long time. The crossbow was an innovation when it came out. You had this stock with the bow that came across instead of the vertical bow. The bow was horizontal and came across, and it could shoot a bolt really fast and really accurately. Modern crossbows have made some huge strides. There's a new compound crossbow that just came out that's hitting 500 feet per second. That's pretty crazy. I have a couple of crossbows today that we're going to look at. A couple of options. Check them out. So this is a Centerpoint crossbow. This is a fairly inexpensive crossbow. It is a 170-pound draw weight on the limbs. You could cock this one with your hand if you wanted to. So to cock a crossbow like this, you got a couple of options. The easiest, you put your foot in the stirrup, you grab the string, you pull it till it clicks. Now you're cocked and ready to go. You put your arrow in, safety off, 175 pounds, pretty easy. The other option to cock something like this, again, you put your foot in the stirrup, but you use this rope cocking device. And the way this works, you've got this string with some handles and these two hooks. And your string goes back here, you put your hooks on the string, you grab the handles, and then there's pulleys here, and you just pull up until it clicks. It's a whole lot easier. And now you're ready to go. So this is an Excalibur Bulldog Matrix 400. Man, that's a lot of words to describe a crossbow. This is also a recurve crossbow. This one has a 280-pound draw on the limbs. So at 280-pound draw, I am not going to draw this one with my hands. Maybe you can. I am not strong enough to pull this thing back with just my fingers. And so you have two options to cock this one. Again, you have the rope cocking device, just like the other one. And so you put your rope cocking device on the string, pull. Woo. Safety on. And now you're ready to go. It's a lot harder than the other one, but put your arrow in, safety off. There you go. So the other option for this crossbow, you have this handy device back here. It's similar to the rope cocking device in that you have these two hooks, and you bring them down, and you put them on the string, just like the other one. Difference is that you have this handy dandy handle, and your handle goes in here, and now you can crank it. Now the downside to this one is that if you let go, it swings back the other way. So you got to keep a good hold on your handle, and you have to keep cranking until it clicks. But it's super easy to do. There's not a lot of resistance. It's not difficult. And so you crank it until it clicks, pull out your handle, hooks back, safety on, and you're ready to go. Again, put your arrow in, safety off, 280 pounds. Now this is where it gets interesting. Check this out. Here is the really interesting thing. Check this thing out. This is the Lancehead F1 limbless crossbow. As the name implies, there are no limbs on this. Those round things you see at the front and the middle, there are steel springs, coiled springs. And so when you cock it with the cocking device that I'll show you in a minute, it coils those springs up. And then when you pull the trigger, those springs uncoil and it launches your arrow. Check it out. So the way this works, to cock it, you have a cocking device. Got some string out, you put it on the back. Bring it all the way forward. Lock that onto the string. Get your hand. Turn it. Now the difference is that with this one, if I stop, I can take my hand completely off and it doesn't unwind. And so at any point, you can stop spinning, but you crank it all the way up until you hear it lock into place. Just like that. Take your handle off. Take your cocking device off, and you're ready to go. Take your arrow. Put your arrow in. And again, you're ready to go. Safety is off. So the interesting thing about this crossbow is the fact that it doesn't have the crossbow. There are no limbs. And so the question has come up, is this legal to hunt with? Because in a lot of states, you are legally allowed to hunt with a crossbow, but those laws are very specific about the draw weight. And in a lot of states, what it says is the draw weight on the limbs have to be at least this much and no more than that much. But this doesn't have limbs. And so the question is it legal to hunt with because it doesn't have limbs? It's not a crossbow in the sense that it doesn't have those limbs, but it does propel an arrow. Now, the manufacturer will say it actually does have limbs. They're coiled here. And that makes sense to me, and I can see that. I can understand that. But there are some people who say, no, it's not a crossbow, and so it shouldn't be legal to hunt with. And really what it comes down to, it doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what you think, it doesn't even matter what the manufacturer thinks. All that matters is what the law says. What does the law allow? And that's the question. That's why this has stirred up some controversy. What does the law allow? Really, really interesting. So what does all that mean for us? Well, let's go to the workbench. So the question about whether it's legal or not to hunt with that F1 limbless crossbow. In some states, because of the way the law is worded when it talks about the draw weight of the limbs on the crossbow, it might actually be illegal to hunt with that limbless crossbow because it doesn't have limbs. And some people will argue and say, well, that's just wrong. Obviously it means this, or it should be that, or I think it's this. None of that actually matters. What I think, what you think, what the manufacturer thinks really doesn't matter. All that matters is what the law actually says and what the law allows. Now, we can argue about whether that's good or right or just or fair, but really what matters is what the law says. And as followers of Jesus, we sometimes get into that same argument when we talk about, well, what does God allow? What can we do? This is an old, outdated way of thinking. It should be this, it should be that. What we think, how we interpret God's law really doesn't matter because God has the final say in what that means. Psalm 19, 8 through 10 says, "The commandments of the Lord are right, bringing joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are clear, giving insight for living. Reverence for the Lord is pure, lasting forever. The laws of the Lord are true, each one is fair. They are more desirable than gold, even the finest gold. They are sweeter than honey, even honey dripping from the comb." God's law isn't there to limit us or to prevent us. God's laws are there so that we can have life to the full. And when we start interpreting what we think God's law should be, that's where we get into trouble. As followers of Jesus, our goal is to obey what God tells us, what God calls us to do and to be. Doesn't matter what we think. What matters is what God has called us to do and to be. You keep working on that. Until next time, you keep aiming for whatever it is God has called you to do and to be.